Hi, everyone. Typically, we usually think of worry as something we should reduce, something we should manage. But what if part of us believes that worry is actually a good thing? That it shows we care, that it shows we're responsible, conscientious, thoughtful people. In today's video, we're going to be continuing our series on worry management skills. And so far, I've talked about an engine of worry. I've talked about intolerance of uncertainty as the fuel that drives the worry engine. And in the last few videos, we've been focused on beliefs about the usefulness of worry. The idea is that part of why we worry excessively is because we attach value or benefit to the worry, that it's somehow doing us good. We challenge beliefs that worry helps with problem solving, that it motivates a person, that it can prevent negative outcomes, and that it can protect a person from future negative emotions. So today, I want to explore and challenge a common belief that many people don't even realize that they hold. And this is the idea that worry is a sign of your character, a sign of your love, your commitment. And while it might seem harmless or even helpful, it can actually make it much harder to stop worrying, even when it's clear that worrying is taking a big emotional toll on a person. So let's start with the question. Is it possible that worry and anxiety might actually make someone more caring or more conscientious? And if that's true, does it mean that worry represents a positive personality trait? If worrying is tied to being responsible and showing concern for others, then that would make worry a good thing, something that we should keep doing, or maybe even do more of. The belief that worry is a sign of responsibility, conscientious, or care for others, it can play a big role in why people continue to worry excessively. If someone sees worrying as a way to prove that they're accountable or caring, they're going to feel that giving up worry means that they're giving up something valuable, something that makes them a good person. A common example I'll often hear is a client will say, I'm the worrier in my family. If I stop worrying, my parents will be disappointed. They'll think I don't care about them anymore. In their mind, worrying is how they show love. It's how they prove that they're a good son or a good daughter. So essentially, this belief turns worry into a stand in for caring. The more you worry, the more it seems like you care about your family, your job, your relationships, your performance. And if worry is the way you measure how much you care, then it makes perfect sense to worry a lot. Because not worrying might feel like not caring. You see this a lot in parents who will often say, what kind of parent would I be if I didn't worry about my children? The implication is that parents who don't worry must not love their children as much as those who do worry a lot. So if worrying equals caring, then by that logic, worry is essential. And if you're a caring, responsible person, you should just keep worrying and worry more. But is that really true? Now, you might already get a sense that this doesn't quite add up. So the question is, how do you demonstrate to yourself? How do you show yourself that worry isn't actually a marker of how loving or caring or responsible you are? Well, the first question you want to ask is, if you believe that worrying makes you a good parent, a good employee, what are some of the other things? What are some of the other characteristics that define a good parent or a conscientious worker? Aside from worrying, what else do you do that reflects those traits? And once people begin to start thinking about this, they usually come up with lots of examples. I help my kids with their homework. I encourage them to try new things. I comfort them when they're upset. I spend time for them. I make sacrifices for them. These actions reflect care, and none of them require worry. They come from attention, from presence and effort, not from anxiety. Another question to ask yourself is, do you know any good parents who don't worry excessively about their children? Do you have any responsible friends or coworkers who aren't constantly worrying about stuff? If you can think of even a few examples, that shows that worrying isn't a requirement for being a conscientious or a caring person. You might also ask yourself, does worry ever get in the way of being the parent, the partner, or the employee you want to be? How does it affect your ability to be present with your kids? How does it affect your focus and your productivity at work? Often people begin to start to realize that worry actually interferes with the things they value most. So, for example, I might miss part of a conversation with my child because I'm stuck ruminating on something that they mentioned in passing, like saying that they ate lunch alone. Maybe it didn't bother them, but it bothers me, and I lose track of the rest of the story that they're telling me because I'm worried about, what does this mean about their social connectedness with their friends? I'm not fully there in the present, in the interaction with my child because I'm worrying about something else. Or maybe I'm trying to enjoy time with my kids, but I'm distracted thinking about something else, lost in another worry. So even though I'm physically present with them, I'm not really showing up in the way I want to. The worry pulls me out of the moment, and in that way, it's limiting my ability to actually be the caring, engaged parent I want to be. Um, One thing I'll also ask clients is to imagine their closest friends and family sitting down and writing down a list of that client's top 10 personality strengths, their top 10 personality characteristics, the things that they most admire and appreciate about the client. These are the people that know the client the best and know what really makes them special. And then I ask the client, where would worries a lot fall on that list? Most people realize it probably wouldn't make the list at all. In fact, it might even be seen as something that gets in the way, something that their friends and family wish that they didn't do as much because it causes distress and doesn't actually help. By reflecting on questions like these, you can start to see that your caring and conscientiousness come through in many different ways, ways that have nothing to do with worry. And in doing so, you can see that worry isn't necessary to be a good person. You know people who care deeply but don't worry consistently. You can also begin to see that worry, far from being a positive trait, might actually be holding you back. It can pull you out of your relationships. It can keep you from being fully present, and it can make it harder to perform at your best. And while your mind or the worry may tell you that the worry is how you show love and responsibility, the people closest to you may see it as something that causes you pain, something that isn't one of your best characteristics, that doesn't define your goodness. It's not always easy to let go of worry, especially when it feels like that worry is tied to your identity and to your values. But caring doesn't require worry. Being conscientious doesn't depend on constant mental stress. The more clearly you can see the difference between worrying and true caring, the more you recognize that the worry actually gets in the way. And then it becomes easier to let go of it. You're not less responsible or less loving if you worry less. In fact, letting go of unnecessary worry may be exactly what allows you to show up more fully for the people and for the things that matter most to you. And if you're interested in learning more about the costs of worry and the negative impacts it can have on a person's life, I'll link to the next video in this worry management series here once it's been posted. So that's all for today's video. As always, thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.